So on January 26th of 2020, I received a call about a domestic assault situation, and when I showed up on scene, I saw Macy Green, who was laying on the floor naked and crying, and stated that her boyfriend had raped her, and he was seen running out the back door. So unfortunately, we didn't catch Mr. Gardner that night, but we did scoop him up on the next day, which was January 27th. So the witness we have in this case is Gabriel Johnson. He stated that he heard loud yelling and commotion coming from his neighbor's house, which was 220 Manor Drive, which was the home of Macy Green. He described that he heard yelling and what sounded like gunshots. Our suspect in this case is Mitchell Gardner, who was born on 7/23/1994, which makes him 26 years old. He is 6'3" and weighs 220 pounds, which makes him about a medium build. Mr. Gardner is Caucasian and has short brown hair with green eyes. On the night of the incident, he was last seen wearing ripped blue jeans, a black shirt, gray jacket, and red and white sneakers with a red hat. So the process that I would use to interview this witness is to gather every bit of information I can get from him to help further this case. I would talk to the witness on scene, but then also ask if I can ask him further questions down at the station. So one interrogation technique that I would use is the indirect approach technique. I would use this technique first because it is used when interrogating a suspect whose guide is uncertain or doubtful. And in this case, I believe Mr. Gardner is uncertain about the crime that he had committed. The next technique that I would use is the emotional approach, because the emotional approach overrides the source's rationale for resisting by using and manipulating his emotions against him. I believe in this case, Mr. Gardner loved Macy Green too much, and that exploited or turned into hate for Macy Green. So the steps that I took was to get all the background information on Mr. Gardner, along with the details of the case. So then I would then create a respectful and empathetic relationship with the victim. This will help me further into the investigation, and it may make him open up a little bit more with me since we built rapport within each other. And then lastly, I would employ active listening while the interviewee explained his or her side of the story. The legal issues that we would run into would be to read the suspect's Miranda rights, or else some of the things he says in the interrogation may not be able to be used in a court of law because they could say that it was unconstitutional because we did not technically read him his rights. So the information that I got out of interviewing the witness is that he saw Mitchell Green run out of Macy Green's house, and he heard the arguing and the gunshots that took place at the residence. The information I got from the suspect is that he was told his girlfriend was cheating on him, and he felt betrayed. So when he went on a rampage, he threw things around the house and then went on to rape Macy Green and fire gunshots at her, which luckily he missed, but he fortunately confessed to this crime after the hours of interrogation, and we were able to arrest him on rape and battery charges against Macy Green. So in this case, ethical behavior is important because the interviewee is responsible for the interview methods that are used, and his conscience acts as the benchmark. With ethical behavior in mind, then the interviewee will begin with the understanding of the worth and dignity of every human being, and there will be no judgment throughout the entire interview. If ethical behavior is used, then the information provided would have been provided freely and voluntarily without compelling influence. Lastly, interviews, decisions, and records should remain untainted by personnel, financial, political, or any other type of improper influence.